Hi, this is Cheryl, and I think I'm going to review the stitches again so that you will understand exactly how the stitches are done. I made up this little chart here, and hopefully it will help you understand. Now this is your basic cross stitch, okay? And basically this would be your woven fabric, and you would start here at 1, and you would come up there and you would go diagonally across to here, and you go down in that stitch. Then you go straight down and you go into there, or you'd come up through there, and then you would go across diagonal again, and you do this down and across, and then down, and then when you go back, you go the opposite direction, okay? And then down, and you keep going cross and down, cross and down. That's what creates your X's, and also is what creates the straight stitches on the back. And let me show you here. So I've got my beginning, that would be the 1, and then you would go diagonal, and then you go straight down, okay, and that's what creates, okay? Now and that's what creates your stitches. And then just go opposite direction to create your cross, okay? Now I'm going to push this to the side for right now, get it out of the way. Now I'm going to show you a couple of the other stitches. This is your back stitch, okay? Let's see if I can get that glare off. And you would start at your bottom, or wherever it is that you're going to start your back stitch. You go up to 2 and back down to 3, up to 4, back down to 5, and you just make loops, but it will be a solid line when you're done. Let me show you here. Basically, you would start here. You would actually skip a hole and go down in the next hole, and when you come back up, you go down to the hole you skipped, okay? Then when you do your next one, you go up to the next hole up, and then you go down 1 hole, and you just keep, and that is your back stitch, okay? That's an embroidery. This is an embroidery stitch, and a stem stitch in embroidery is done basically the same way as the back stitch, okay? Now let's get that out of the way. So that's 2 stitches. Those are the main 2 stitches that you would use in cross stitch. Now, hi Sebastian, move out of the way. The next stitch I'm going to show you is the French knot. This is an embroidery stitch, but it's actually used a lot in cross stitching as well. You just take your thread through the hole, and this, Angel, can you hold that hoop for me, please? Just hold it. This, you take your thread and you wrap it around your needle 3 times, and you want to keep this tight, but not super tight. You go back down in the exact same hole you came through, Okay, and you want to pull your thread where it's just tight, but not super tight. Okay, and you just pull it through, and there's your French knot. Okay, now there's a couple of other stitches that I want to tell you about that's often used in cross stitch. One is the half stitch, the half cross stitch, and the other is the 3/4 half stitch. Now these are normally used for like when you are filling in an area. Sometimes you have an area that, where did I put that? That you want more of a pointed edge. Let's say that you wanted to make a diamond. You can actually make that point by using the half or the 3/4. And basically, you're doing a cross stitch, but you're only doing half of it. You're only doing the one slant. You're not doing both. So here is your cross stitch, and you want that point. Well, right there, you only do half of it. You don't do the other half. And that's what makes your point. Okay? Now, the 3/4 is the same thing, except instead of going up to the hole, you go only halfway. You actually go into the weave. And you go down into the weave. And you can fill in. Now you can fill in with 2 colors on one square, or you can just leave that open. Like if you wanted the diamond and you want it filled in, you could do your one stitch, and then you would only go halfway. And you would fill this area in, but this would be open. Okay? So those are the basic stitches for cross stitch. A lot of your cross stitch work is done on Aida cloth. It's not, you can do it on regular fabric, but a lot of it is done on the Aida cloth or other woven fabrics. It is a form of embroidery, so you do have some embroidery work that you can do on it. A lot of times, like if you are doing a pattern and it shows, like maybe you're making a bear's face and you are doing its smile, but you don't want it an open mouth, you can actually do the back stitch or a stem stitch or something on top of your X's, and that will create, you know, your mouth on your bear without doing the cross stitches. Angel, get him. And so that's your basic stitches. I wanted to review those and make sure that you knew how to do them, because it's so simple. It's so simple. Actually reading the chart and getting started on your chart is on the pattern. That's a little more complicated, but the actual stitches are super easy. I just wanted to do a video that showed the actual stitches. I have made up some patterns, and I'm going to go into how to to read your pattern, how to get started, and to show how to do that in the next video. The other thing I wanted to show you was I had made a comment about you don't go over 1/4 inch. I've started a project here, and this is supposed to be a little stocking, but on my pattern, these are the only 3 spots that have green. Okay, now the 1/4 inch I was talking about is the 1/4 inch between these 2 spots or these 2 spots. Let me show that again. These 2 spots or these 2 spots. that's more than 1/4 of an inch. So you don't want to drag your thread across and continue down here. You want to actually end it and then start in this area. You want to do this area, then end it and start in this area. So when you drag it over the back, you would be able to see that green through your, through the fabric, and you don't want that to happen. You want to make sure that's clear in the back, because when you lay something up against it, then you're going to see that, okay? You're going to see that color, and you don't want that because that'll ruin your overall effect. So you want to do one area and then end it, so that one area, then end it and start in your next area, okay? So I wanted to explain that too. All right, well, you all have a nice day.